Hello, Amanda. I'm going to be reading through your paper and giving some comments in this video. Title is Speech Pathology Worldwide. Over the years, the use of speech pathologists and the creation of alternative communication devices has changed the world. People with speech impairments are now able to communicate in a variety of ways in order to have more of a role in society. Lionel Logue, pioneered the speech pathology movement. Before him, the use of these services was not worldwide or greatly accessible. Are those the same thing? Worldwide, greatly accessible? Easily accessible, maybe? He changed the world, but most importantly, he has changed the way people with speech impairments live. In this essay, I plan to take a deeper look into the use of the services worldwide. I want to know how other countries and places use these resources and how their citizens access them. That's why I love doing this paper, because now I want to know that too. Since I was young, I've always known I wanted to work and learn more about people with special needs and the services that are provided for them. I've already learned much by observing speech pathologists and the use of AAC devices in the US, but I have never thought of taking a closer look at how they are used elsewhere. I believe interventionists and speech pathologists improve their practice and approaches by learning and observing others. As Gina Grenti says, experience is a master teacher even when it's not our own. It looks to me like that's the beginning of her sentence, of what she said, and if that were the case, you want, I feel like maybe always, you want a capital letter at the beginning of that for E. Okay, by looking at how, but the citation looks fine, by looking at how others incorporate these services into their society, we learn new strategies for changing and improving their use in society. Sorry, I got lost. I got to think through this again. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Sorry. I'm just thinking through. Believe they can learn. Experience is important. Okay, cool. The first place I researched was Australia. Australia provides a People with Disability Act. It provides it, or like it has, I don't feel like countries provide laws. Okay, like we have the Americans with Disabilities Act, which represents individuals with disabilities. Excellent. Their PW, it helps with the technology of people with speech and communication disorders. Speech Pathology Australia wrote to the Productivity Commission about the statistics. These people wrote to the Productivity Commission about the statistics and use of speech pathologists and their services in the issue paper, National Education Evidence Base. This sounds awesome. The commissioner explains that in some Australian states and territories, the speech pathologists are employed through the school districts, while others are accessed through, but not limited to, the state, the Australian Department of Education, the individual school, and private sector speech pathologists. For some, access to these services is challenging. This is a long paragraph, and when you go to for some, it feels like a nice place to start a new paragraph. Generally, a big part of what I do in this class is encourage people to write shorter paragraphs because they're easier to read. And just in general, when you're writing things for school, but also particularly for the workplace, like shorter paragraphs mean that someone's more likely to actually read what you wrote. In my experience, okay, in 2019, this person explained that there are limited resources for children requiring AAC. She explained the reason for this could be schools often look at AAC learning as a last resort. There's a lack of awareness and adequate training required to teach and implement AAC devices in school settings. Overall, Australia provides similar research to the US and is still about, okay. China is the next country research. In 2011, Marlene B. Okay, that seems weird. Stated that China has a limited amount of resources and personnel to provide services to children with communicative delays. I mean, every place does, but like they have a more limited one. Although we have a much larger population in the US, we do. China has a larger population. Okay, but I don't know. They have significantly fewer speech pathologists. Families of children who need services have little opportunities. Here's a very nitpicky thing that I can help you with. So, few opportunities. Geez, what is it? Few is for things that can be counted, and little is for things that can't be counted, I think. Few opportunities because of the lack of staffing. Given these circumstances, the government does provide specific services such as transportation and other accommodations to help with families getting to the clinics and hospitals. She also discusses and shares her experience with observing their speech practice techniques and surgeries. Surgeries? Whoa. With colleagues and other speech pathologists in the U.S. to improve treatment options. That sentence is awfully long. I would cut that somewhere. I kind of got lost in there. She described, not just because I'm reading so fast, she described that each of these experiences allowed me to be a better teacher and clinician in the United States. That works. This one article, so if you are doing, let me back up. If you are doing MLA, you don't need the year, but if you're doing APA, okay, you are doing APA and I see you do the year. Cool. Sorry, we're back. In the last place I looked was India. Wow, so interesting. India used a different way to provide speech services to their citizens. The International Survey of blah, 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 survey of speech pathologists throughout India. To understand what needs to change, the speech pathologists data indicated that there are not enough speech pathologists to provide adequate services. They explained that there needs to be, train. There needs to be a new plan of action to provide services in a large number of citizens. The journal did explain in India the use of telepractice has increased the availability of studies to more. That's interesting. But they also state that there needs to be more research to see if telepractice is a good form of service delivery throughout India. Oh, I like that. And I like the way you didn't direct quote it. That works fine. This first use of AAC devices in India in 2010, but the movement began in 2005. They aimed to build devices that were affordable throughout India. The first device was called Azaz. It was said to be born at the Silent Revolution Conference. What? I'm going to go to the Silent Revolution Conference. As of now, the use of AAC devices among schools is low because of the price and the importance based on parents and teachers' perceptions. That's unclear. The use is low because of the importance based on parents. Teacher. It sounds like you're saying because of the importance of parent and teacher perceptions, and I know that's not what you mean. It is said that less than 50% of parents chose communication devices as a priority. Interesting. They also believe that the AAC devices would not help their children because of this. They did not have a need to enforce them in schools. Why they think that. The creators of Azaz are pushing for more education on the importance of the device for people with communication disability, but there is an awareness gap in the public school system. Teachers are not aware of the high-tech devices or how to use them. There are many more places to investigate, and these are just a few of them. Each has its own unique set of protocol techniques and services we can try to implement from observation. In the future, I think it will be helpful to study more about how these countries implement their services and also look at other countries around the world. Using research from other countries can enable us to improve our protocols, techniques, and services in order to maximize opportunities for people. Okay. And let me glance at your works cited. I hope it's back here. Yes, it is. And it looks good on a quick glance. Okay, so you did a lovely job with the paper. Sorry, I need to check and see how long this video is. Too long.